Hi, this is Jim with ProfitTrading.com. Going to take a look at a few of these markets here. The S&P is the 10-10 bands showing uptrends, so I think this market's going to continue higher from here. And then the bottom chart here, we got the stochastics. There's two charts on this. Bar chart they got that thing where you can do it this way. So S&P looks higher. Bonds. Normally when stocks move higher, bonds move lower, and I think that bonds are going to break lower here. Matter of fact, this is basically, I think you could short bonds here. I think what bonds did is they made a double top here on a bearish divergence on the stochastics down here below, and then it's kind of made like a higher test, or a lower test of the high, excuse me, and it's breaking down below the 10-10 bands, and I think bonds are going to continue lower from here. Okay, the dollar, I think the dollar's made a top. Again, this could change with further price action. If it looks different, we'll... Another thing on that bonds, if you noticed it on the chart here, it's got the stochastics has crossed over. Same thing with the dollar. The dollar made a double top here on less momentum, and it came up and made another top again on less momentum, so it kind of made three moves into a high, and it's moving below the 10-10 bands, and the stochastics is the red lines below the green line, so I think the dollar is going to continue lower from here. The 10-10 bands are a 10-day moving average of the highs and a 10-day moving average of the lows, and they really tell a lot about the market, but it's really a good indicator. You can get those when you come to bar chart. If you just go down here and moving averages, high, low, 10, 10-8 it has for default. I use 10-10. You can use 10-8 too if you want to. I just like the idea of the 10-10. Okay, cocoa made a double bottom on a bullish divergence, moved above the bands here, put in a couple bars above the bands, and came down and just made a little test, and now I think this market's going to continue higher. If it takes out this pivot high made on 111, that's a good sign for higher prices. Again, on the stochastics, the red line's above the green line, so that's bullish. So right now cocoa's bullish. Sugar is kind of the same deal. It's moved above the bands, and I'm sure the stochastics on a buy signal. And what happened with sugar is it made a kind of a longer base, or it basically has made a long base, and it's basically moving up above the bands here. And today so far is a bullish day on sugar. It's above the bands, and the stochastics shows the momentum is up, so sugar looks higher. I know I'm going through these kind of fast, but I'm trying to cover a lot of markets. I'm just kind of letting you know which way to be trading. So really it looks like the dollar's going to break lower, and in general then other commodities should move higher. Gold should move higher. So the softs, normally if the dollar breaks lower, cocoa, sugar, coffee will move higher. Now again, the bands are showing an uptrend. Coffee went above the bands and then slammed lower. So if coffee were to break below the bands, it could go down and test this low. But if coffee moves and closes back above the bands, I would say that this is just making higher lows and is heading higher. And the stochastic is right now is on a short-term sell signal. If the stochastics would hook up and coffee would move back above the bands and close back above the bands, that would signal higher prices are probably on the way. Okay, we'll look at crude oil real quick, and then maybe we'll wrap this one up, and then we'll switch to now crude kind of looks like it might be making a double top here, which it could be, and has moved below the bands. So this is actually looking more like a sell signal here right now. But again, if gold heads higher, crude will probably continue higher. So right now crude is looking more like a sell signal with below the bands, and then with the stochastics on the sell. But this could just be when it hits resistance, a lot of times it will pull back and then break through resistance. So I'm thinking crude is going to head higher, but right now it's looking more bearish on the chart. So I really wouldn't do anything with crude right now. If crude took out this low, that would probably be a place to consider going short. This pivot low on 113. Okay, so let's wrap this one up.